last week, and this week we finally hit 5,000 subscribers. Yay! So I didn't want to not have a video today because I just felt like that was super exciting and cool. See, like, I feel like that may have sounded funny. And I've been really wanting to get a conspiracy video out, so I hope this sounds good. But anyway, as you've seen by the title, we're gonna get into some things here. When I was researching for this video, I knew that there was honestly a million paths that we could go, so buckle up for tonight. For those of you who really hate conspiracies, a lot of this stuff that I will be talking about in this video is actually very factual. It's kind of like the building blocks and timeline of the Illuminati with sprinkles of conspiracies throughout. We will be getting into some crazy stuff near the end, but for the most part, we will be going over the actual real life events and factual things that have been associated around the Illuminati, as well as conspiracies. So let's get excited. Welcome back to this corner. I'm very glad that I'm using it again because it's in a section of my house that several people have seen it before and been like, what do you do in your spare time? So let's get ourselves nice and comfortable. If you had a bad week, don't worry. That's what I'm here for, to ease your minds. Relax and let's make this a nice distraction together. Grab yourselves a glass of water, a beer, maybe some Reese's peanut butter cups or Cheetos. Literally both are my favorite. Or maybe use this time to get away from those vices and get out your crocheting gear, or go for a walk, or maybe even make charms with clay. Whatever you want to do, you do you. Please keep posting those. I find them so funny. Now, keep your minds open, stay woke, and let's dive into the infamous, the eerie, true and false stories of the Illuminati. Dun dun dun. So, the Illuminati. How much do you know about it? Well, let me tell you. It all started in 1776 by a Adam Weishaupt, a German philosopher, professor of civil law and later canon law, who was inspired by the ideals of French philosophy, of secularism and rational thought. He wanted to share and work with others that shared his similar viewpoints. The Freemasons, if you've heard of them, are a secret society that often people relate to the Illuminati, occult activities, etc. But the Freemasons and Freemasonry believed in a higher power, strong brotherhood bonds, in a place where you're not supposed to speak of religious views, politics, but there's been splits and disagreements on that. Freemasons actually did divide for a bit. Some allow religious talk, some allow political talk. It is kind of one or the other. It branched into a lot of different things. But basically, if you're part of the Freemasons and participating in Freemasonry, it's kind of like school. You have to know exactly where to stand. You have to obey some pretty strict rules, talk to your elders, know when to speak, when not to speak. And the ceremonies to this current day are based on the myth of King Solomon's temple. But we're not going there because no, people thought that they were trying to take over the world. But this is the factual point in the video, so we won't be going there yet. If you are a Freemason, there's even degrees that you need to go through in order to attend certain meetings, to have certain titles, that type of thing. But anyway, what does this have to do with Adam? Clearly they have the same mind frame as him. He would love to be a part of a group like that, but he couldn't afford the admission Illuminati was a network of spies, kind of, and counter spies. So each initiative member would report back to their superiors in the group and kind of tattle on other people in the neighborhood. Each other kind of reminds me of Scientology a bit. And they referred to their writings and their rituals as pure masonry and expanded the organization. At their height, there was between 650 to 2,500 members, which is a good leap considering they'd started with maybe 7 or 8 guys. Which, by the way, we just hit 5,000 guys. Families growing. We're bigger than the Illuminati was back in the day. As you guys all unsubscribe because I may not even be recording audio right now. But this quote I thought was really good on the entire society and what he had built within this little group of the Order of the Illuminati. Adam's plan was to educate Illuminati followers in the highest level of humanity and morality, basing his teachings on the supremacy of reason, allied with the spirit of the golden rule of not doing to others what one would not wish to be done on oneself. So if Illuminati alumni subsequently attained positions of significance and power, such as fields in his education and politics, they could exert a benevolent and uplifting influence upon society at large. His project was utopian and naively optimistic, and he was certainly not without flaws of character, but neither he nor his plan was evil or violent in and of themselves. It is one of the deplorable and tragic ironies of the history that a man who tried to inculcate virtue, philanthropy, social justice, and morality has become one of the greatest hate figures of the 21st century's conspiracy thinking. That's a pretty big statement. So basically, he tried his best. He only wanted what was good, and people grabbed on him for it. Because basically, as most of you know, when a lot of people think of the Illuminati, they think it's bad or evil or corrupt. But I think it was mostly stemmed off of the fact that they were anti-religious in the sense that they didn't want that to interfere on their conversations. However, we'll keep going and see if things change. I think it definitely doesn't help that they did some unusual things. They used heavy symbolism, like glorifying the owl, the all-seeing eye, and adopting weird ways to make it so they couldn't be identified. Hierarchies within the group, such as novice, Minerval, and illuminated Minerval, to divide rankings and would use these symbols to identify themselves secretly amongst each other. Apparently, when the group started, no one over their 30s was to be trusted, and I don't think anyone over their 30s could join the group. That was because if you were of that age, you were set in your ways and could not be swayed to free thinking or open-mindedness. Ageist. They were also very paranoid. The Illuminati members were obscenely paranoid. Hence why they acted like spies and had weird behavior amongst each other and protocols to stay secret. And apparently they had quite the bizarre rituals. But they did also heavily promote enlightenment. But with that rationale, I think they were just more revolutionaries in people's eyes. And hey, you have weird symbolism. The church is going to make you out to look like Satanists. history. Some they say that they continued their work. Others say maybe some people just picked up where they left off. But what's kind of funny is in the 1920s, fascists thought that the Illuminati was a group of Jewish people. And after World War II, people thought that the Illuminati were a bunch of communists. So no one knew if they were around who it was. If so, it was all fear-based things and rumors. But the reason the Illuminati had basically lived through the decades was from the theory of them potentially joining the Freemasons, as well as a 1797 article released saying that the Illuminati was behind the French Revolution. But it was actually most likely George Washington's letter addressing the Illuminati threat that was sent out in 1798 that really just kept the myths going. You know, you really couldn't get the Illuminati over the ages, just kept being spoken of. In a panic caused by the anti-Illuminati books and sermons, Thomas Jefferson was accused of being a member of the group. But this is probably, again, just a rumor mill thing. Now, conspiracy theories have always been very popular in the United States, but for centuries, the Illuminati, at least, were way less feared than the Freemasons. But the Freemasons remained a focal point for paranoia in America, because the Illuminati recruited many members throughout Europe through the Freemasons' lodges. The two groups are often really confused with each other, hence why I'd made that disclaimer at the beginning of this video saying, hey, Illuminati, just a bunch of poor guys that can't get into the Freemasons. Also, the theories that they collaborated or combined doesn't really help distinguish them from themselves as well. It just muds up the confusion even more so. To some degree, though, the Freemason and Illuminati paranoia grew out of the Freemasons' influence in the United States. Many founding fathers were members, and some key American symbols have been derived from the Freemasons. There is strong argument that the floating eye on the dollar bill, the eye of Providence above a pyramid, comes from Freemasonry. However, there's also argument that this was meant as a Christian symbol. The only thing we know for certain is it has nothing to do with the Illuminati, the Freemasons, or Christianity. That early Freemason paranoia can help us understand the conspiracy theories about the Illuminati today. People will use the term Illuminati to determine anything that they don't like or anything that challenges their values. Probably a part of the Illuminati, probably just someone from the Illuminati. Yep, people do that. People do that, especially if it's creepy stuff that you don't agree with. 1,000,000%. So anyway, here was the building blocks of the very real Illuminati, Freemasonry, that type of thing. Some fact, others that are, again, old school gossip. Like, you don't really have anything sound off of a secret society from years ago. So the Illuminati, they disappeared. Rumor mill-wise, at least for quite some time. People either stopped caring, focusing on a war or what was really going on in the world. But it was when, in the mid-1970s, that the Illuminati made their comeback through a trilogy book series that gave them the secret society's spooky images that we're all familiar with today. It was a fantasy trilogy using real history that got things back on the radar for the Illuminati, and more so what we know of today, as well as the then later and massively popular novel Angels and Demons, where the Illuminati group is heavily interlinked with Satanism, alien myths, crazy stuff. And for a while, there was fears this group was back, like bigger than ever now. They've had so much time to, who knows what they've been doing. Ooh, the unknown. The stories are now really eccentric and insane. But what's funny is, in a recent poll, when people were asked about the Illuminati years and years ago, people had all said there may be a possibility they could be a thing. But once lizard people started coming into the picture, a lot of people started saying maybe it's not real. societies and connections to this Illuminati group that will all kind of interlink throughout this story. Yes, there will be some tinfoil hatty things, okay, but a lot of this is grounded in the truth, which is even creepier. Now, because a lot of higher up figures have historically and present day been openly a part of the Freemason groups, it is believed that these secret societies are part of the New World Order. Hello, it is written here, but I had to bring it low. So the Illuminati is believed to have the goal to create a dominant one-world governing system. The belief of this New World Order and people's fear behind it extends from a large range of things, but it's odd when you have presidents incorporating this into their speeches. When you have JFK discussing secret societies like we are today, and how he doesn't stand for them. And in 1991, when George H.W. Bush was discussing how, and I quote, "We have the opportunity to forge ourselves and future generations a new world order, where the rule of law, not the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders." It's actually creepier too when he says it, but I don't run a country, so it's less scary if I say that. And it's also creepy his involvement in different secret societies that make this statement a little not good. So here's the thing. New World Order, the Illuminati, people using information and their power to sway certain things. Why would that be bad? It must all be for the good of the people, right? Why would I care? It should be a good thing. We should have faith that these people aren't doing anything weird. Well, if you're in a secret society, why can't you just tell people about it? But anyway, it is the creepiness that a lot of these societies meet up and discuss, and the borderline satanic evil activities and rituals that they do that really question your morals for them. So if you've ever heard of these skull and bones, we're going here. We're going down this route. If you guys know where I'm going, good. If you don't, better, because I hope that this is new to you. So if you've heard of the skull and bones, raise your hands. I can't see you. So the skull and bones, also known as the Order 322, or the Brotherhood of Death, cute name, is an undergraduate senior secret student society at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. It was founded in 1832 and is the oldest senior class society at the university. Skull and Bones has become a cultural institution known for its powerful alumni and various conspiracy theories. Oh yeah. It is one of the big three societies at Yale, the other two being Scroll and Key and the Wolf's Head Society. All creepy, but Skull and Bones definitely the creepiest. A lot of people associated with their membership always say things like, I can't talk about that, I can't comment, membership is private, I can't say who's a part of it, I can't even say if I'm a part of it. Okay, well you clearly are, because no one else would know to say those things, but okay. And if you ask a Skull and Bones member about their activities, they will have to say, I need to leave the room, because they don't want to expel any secrets by accident. Here's my thing. You can totally be in a secret society, that's fine, but if you're 40 plus years old and you're still saying, I need to leave the room, I can't talk about it, it's a secret, maybe I was in it, I don't know. What did you do? Like, what do you guys do? You should have a fake, you should do what Scientologists say. Leah Remini literally says that they do this thing where if you question them, even if it's the truth, they'll laugh it off and say, that's crazy, no way. No, yeah, I didn't know, it's all about this, like whatever. Why can't the Skull and Bones people just be like,
oh yeah, we were just young kids having a time, you know, just silly stuff. Honestly, it's embarrassing.
Like, hilarious. Anyway, so this very secret group selects 15 members at the beginning of each year, and personal relations are very important. So if your father went there, you're probably going there. Or you have to be somebody, you have to be an up-and-comer somehow. You don't apply. They don't have a booth on the lawn on the first day. They have a day at the beginning of the spring called Tap Day, where they tap behind you on your shoulder and whisper in your ear if you want to be a Skull and Bones member. And then you somehow, I've seen bags over the head in movies, I've heard just they tell you where to go, but to hold their meetings with you in a tomb. But it's actually a hall built for this club specifically with its own courtyard and towers and stuff. It looks pretty, I guess, but it is referred to as a tomb. And the architecture has Egyptian Revival Grove Street cemetery gates that were built in 1845. Now, a lot of their activities are related around death. They are called the Skull and Bones, okay? They're not pirates. So their insignia 322 is widely reported to be in reference to the Greek orator Demosthenes' death. Other people say no. Maybe that represents the founding year, but I think it's the creepier option, probably based on what they go through with later. Their group members have to have nicknames such as Long Devil, Odin, and Magog. Magog was actually the name of George H.W. Bush, and that means that you are the most sexually experienced member. That's good to know. We all wanted that. We all wanted that for George H.W. This club also claims to have stolen human skulls. The skulls of Martin Van Buren, Gronmo, and Pancho Villa. Weird. Now, this group had so many elite members, the secret society. George H.W. Bush, who actually talked about it in an interview and then said, whoops, can't tell you about that. Can't wait till he's senile. But also John Kerry, former U.S. Secretary of State and former U.S. Senator. Stephen A. Schwartzman, founder of the Blackstone Group. Austin Goolsbee, chairman of Barack Obama's council. Harold Stanley, co-founder of Morgan Stanley. Frederick W. Smith, FedEx founder. And all of these people were reported to be members. CIA people, lots and lots of people who ended up doing high-ranking stuff. And the thing is when you have all these people in a group that are loyal to each other well past their college years in high-ranking positions, who are all willing to look out for each other, that is very much what the Illuminati kind of wanted to do. They wanted people in different ranks in all areas of society who could help them achieve things, and the Skull and Bones really had the opportunities to do that. I'm not saying the Skull and Bones are the Illuminati, but they do have ties to them in the conspiracy realms. Basically, the Illuminati would have dreamed to have been them, because that's all they wanted. Now, why is this bad? Why is it? It's just a bunch of creepy names, right? People knew of them performing rituals. They didn't know exactly what they did. It was all just hearsay. But a couple documents were released by, I don't know, just like a passing member about the Skull and Bones that people were so annoyed about. Saying things like, after tap night, if one could climb to the tower of Weir Hall, the odd castle that overlooks the Bones courtyard, one could hear strange cries and moans coming from the bowels of the tomb. I just got very creeped out reading that. And the Skull and Bones performing rituals, again, just juicy gossip, until an art student had been performing this art piece where they were recording the Yale courtyard all hours of the day and the night. I think they were doing some sort of time whatever, hoax, but leave it there to be like, guys, this isn't real. Not have it wiped from the internet. That makes me scared. Like, is it wiped because it's real? I don't know. So, what they had found on the tape was several members, people who'd been chosen that year, performing a weird ritual. In the ritual, from what I can remember, I think one of them was naked, maybe just topless, maybe naked, but there was a few people chanting over this person in the middle of the night, by the way, over top of them, and one of the members was lying down, crawling, screaming bloody murder. It's horrific, while the others on top were chanting this like scripture and pretending to kill the person. And it was very methodic and creepy. And here's my thing. Go on, do a toga thing, have beer pong tournaments every day. But do I want someone who's running my country or in a high level position to be fake killing people in a courtyard? What are you prepping for? That is like literal serial killer stuff. Like, that's not normal, no matter what parties I've been to. And I went to university, okay, we didn't do anything like that. And if someone said to do that, I'd probably be like, are you on crack? So anyway, Skull and Bones does these creepy things, goes out to the world, heavily linked with the Illuminati. And after some time in Yale, not all of them, some people didn't even have to go to Skull and Bones and just went into this other club, but other Skull and Bones members did move on to the Bohemian Grove Club. I wonder if you guys know about this one. So this is a very exclusive club that presidents, rich white dudes in powerful positions are all a part of. President Nixon, the Bushes, the Spreckles family, who I briefly did a video on a few videos back, Teddy Roosevelt, Ronald Reagan, Henry Kissinger, all a part of the Bohemian Grove Club, which is just the creepiest club on the planet. If the Skull and Bones seems weird, this gets weirder. So the Bohemian Grove is this men's club. I think they have a place in Philadelphia where they all hang out, have a good time. But in around June or July, they will go for a 2-week bros camping trip in a land that the Grove owns, which is a 2,700 acre campground. Have fun, to let loose. Their slogan is "Weaving spiders come not here," which means let's have fun and leave work at the door. Maybe get like a normal slogan. So supposedly on their 2-week camping trip, they'll just get super drunk the whole time, talk about music, that type of thing. But again, to that slogan, why don't you just have core values like honor, justice, and brotherhood? So they claim that once they're here, they don't have any discussions about work. It's all fun. They listen to music, talk about arts and stuff like that, and enjoy themselves. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But one of their summer trips, they supposedly had a Manhattan Project planning meeting held there in September of 1942. And that meeting led to the creation of the atomic bomb. Like, I've never been in the woods drinking with buddies, talking about art and music and theater shit, and been like, you know what would be sick? And then spent 2 weeks talking about creating like the most destructive thing on the planet interested in a little bit more crazy stuff like lizard people, adrenochrome, weird pedophile, mind-controlling vampires, I can do that. But in leading up to our next theory, and probably one of our final ones, I'm just going to remind you, you have a bunch of groups meeting together, performing satanic rituals outside the scope of basic, I don't know, positive religion, Christianity, Catholicism, that type of thing. Pushing agendas, news stations, politicians to get rid of the church, to use free thought, and that's not a bad thing. I don't think churches are always great. Some probably are good, some, we know from history, no one's perfect. But these societies aren't necessarily involved in our everyday lives. Maybe sometimes they've influenced some drastic things in our lives, big things, but the elite aren't really a part of our day-to-day, are they? Well, are they? I don't know, because you have celebrities who are more so a part of our everyday life. They're influencing our children, they're influencing us every day. Listening to music, watching them on TV, watching our favorite movies, books, that type of thing, right? Why worry about George Bush watching someone get metaphorically burned to an owl in the middle of the woods when Beyonce and Jay-Z are flashing this symbol everywhere? They're Illuminati. What are they up to? Really? So, this is kind of where we go into fame and puppetry, as you would call it. We're not doing clones, but the interesting rituals that celebrities partake in as well. But not only that, how they are distractions from the secret society groups that do get people recording video footage of them posted online, yet no one seems to stop and think that should be looked into further because we're too busy being distracted and focusing on other things like, oh hey, if you turn Single Ladies on a record backwards, you can hear weird lyrics saying, I will rule the world. Come on. So in order to rise to fame, or whatever you call it, some people try for years and years and get nowhere. A small following, maybe, but when you want hordes and hordes of people worshipping you, because, hey, people get crazy with celebrities, it can happen over time, but a year to 2 years, that's pretty drastic for millions of people to know your name. It can happen. These people are talented as well. But isn't it an odd coincidence that all of these celebrities, or at least the highest ones in popularity, all flash the same symbolisms and perform weird acts on stage? You have Katy Perry and the Dark Horse video, her weird performance on stage at the VMAs or the Music Awards that was a satanic ritual towards the crowd and claimed as art. And then you have Rihanna's music video, Disturbia, where she's literally grinding and dancing in one of those devil pentagon star things. And then you have Beyonce and Jay-Z doing anything. And yes, talented. But why all these things? Why the coincidence? Is it just a fad? Is this a fad? Like, what is that? Are they just trying to keep up with things? Are they just trying to make it so that people talk about them? Ooh, they'll think I'm Illuminati now. Yeah, maybe that'll get me some more press. Or are they trying to grow and enhance their fame or maintain it? And like I said just a moment ago, you have people influencing us to do things that we don't necessarily agree with. You have our kids nowadays running around, and people always saying, seriously, kids just get weirder by each generation. I don't get them. Kids are kind of weird now. Well, maybe that's because we don't see, or at least we haven't had to adapt to the type of media that they're being brought up on. Maybe their minds are changing and shifting because of the things that they're being exposed to and the things over time that weren't hard pressed on us or on them like they were on us. Religion was filtered out a bit ago. At least the last few generations of people had some sort of background. Definitely not all. I was kind of half and half myself, but that is a building block for a certain type of, I don't know, person in society. weird way. There's probably a few celebrities themselves who don't realize that they're being puppeteered to show the masses certain things like satanic symbolism and that type of thing. Buy products that'll make you happier. Don't worry about anything except for engaging in these new fads and such, kind of pushing people away from each other, kind of removing that sense of community. Now, in relation to a few ritual things, I know this kind of flip-flops, but it's a lot of information. There's probably a few of their celebrities that made their way up on their own. Now, we're kind of going to use Beyonce as an example for a couple of things here now going forward. Sorry we're using her. She's just an easy target. But Beyonce is a major influence on a lot of people. And a lot of the things that have come out about her are very interesting, as well as Taylor Swift. That kind of crowd, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Jay-Z, Eminem, they all do certain things that seems to put them in the spotlight of Illuminati activity, such as one thing is humiliating yourself. So a lot of people think that Taylor Swift and Kanye West's VMA incident with Beyonce, of course she's involved, a kind of initiation for Taylor Swift. She was wearing white, humiliated by Kanye, maintained composure, and was brought back on stage, ushered in by Beyonce herself, wearing a red dress after. So you see these things, you think Beyonce's so great, she stands up for someone like Taylor who's being bullied. I want to be the type of person that can do these nice things too and be there for people. That's great, that's good. It is interesting how that act was deemed some sort of Illuminati initiation, but at least it showed kids to be nice. But Beyonce's previous drummer in one of her all-girl bands accused Beyonce of practicing extreme witchcraft. Not extreme skateboarding, not extreme snowboarding, witchcraft. Apparently, before she was famous, she would often be seen reading, learning, practicing witchcraft spells, partaking in rituals, and even had killed her previous drummer's cat in one of those rituals. Then suddenly she got famous. What's weird is rituals also seem to follow Beyonce everywhere. As we know from the past in truth portions of this video, rituals aren't far off and are what some of the elite take in, so not far off from the beating path. It did progressively get worse over time with these rituals, and I mean, Beyonce isn't spirit cooking here, okay? But apparently her alter ego, Sasha Fierce, that's what we've all heard of, is not called Sasha. I forget its name, but it is actually a demon that she has reportedly summoned using witchcraft ways before her shows, and then the demon will perform for her. In interviews, Beyonce herself, when people ask how she does certain things on stage, how she gets the courage and such, she always says things like, I don't even remember that show. I honestly don't know who that is on stage. I see that person performing and it's not me. That's not who I am. But yeah, so people think that that's her potentially not remembering, because that was not her doing those activities on stage. That was the demon. That is an extreme example. But a lot of these do go from zero to lizard people in a second. So I was trying to push it out in a good way. May have been confusing for a bit. But basically always happy to entertain you yet another week. I will be having some gangster series coming up soon. I will even be doing a, what do you call it, collab with someone shortly. Try and guess who it is below. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this week's video. Really hope you enjoyed it. I loved researching it, but I'm not gonna lie, it was hard